All right, folks, good afternoon and welcome on back. I have my fingers and toes crossed heading into this Tuesday, July 5th at 2:30 Eastern time because we had some big tech issues early this morning when I subbed in for Fausto for the morning meeting. Hopefully that does not happen again, folks. For those of us that were with me earlier, I apologize. But we are back. Great to see Kathleen. Great to see Nina. I know that Lita's still here. Great to see Robert. Mark S. probably not chatting back to me. I look forward to coaching him later at 3 o'clock. He probably has his hands full on the CVNA trade. So, for right now, folks, great to see everybody. CVNA up 22+%, and hopefully continuing here heading into the afternoon. But with that in mind, folks, there's a lot to look forward to this afternoon. Thankfully, after about 3/4 of the day already, we ended up seeing a nice push up in the market heading into the early afternoon. I do want to go over that briefly, give you a couple of different levels regarding the SPY in particular. You happen to see the SPY on the bottom of my 5-minute chart here, the top left of my platform. So, that's really what we're focused on as a whole with the market. CVNA here, just one of many stocks that are actually pushing up, but this is up really big today, up 22+%. I don't think there's any specific news that came out on this company, just more so the fact that this thing has gotten absolutely crushed from 350 all the way down. So we've been following the stock on and off, over the last couple of months, really. I mean, not before it ended up breaking 100 or even 50 for that matter. Just the closer it falls within our price range, we'll be more inclined to follow it, right? So, we've had our eyes on this for a little while, and with the market squeezing up today, this is one of a few that are doing really well at this point right now. So, we'll just put this on our watch list to begin. This is the CVNA trade. I don't have any major levels on this one just yet, really like at 27. There's only about 2,500 shares. That is nothing. So that's not really a clear, big level to follow. What I did write in the chat board earlier for those of us in Cyber Group, I said, hey, CVNA had big volume filled today at 2630. Right, 2630. So, that I could share briefly from the matrix side of things here. You scroll down, and right around here, 2630, 2635. So that area could be support, should we happen to see a pullback. But the way this is trending now at this point in the day, I mean, you don't really want to happen to see that shake. You'd rather see, at least closer, higher lows, and then for it to really run up over 27 heading into the afternoon. So this is moving on up. Roblox was moving on up earlier today too. Another one that's up big, not as much as the CVNA, but up over 13.5% right now. This could easily be in play for the close too, just given what we're getting out of the market right now. Really quickly, folks, I wanted to also comment on this as well. I told you I'd be getting to the SPY chart, the S&P ETF, the SPY. Well, earlier in the trading room, I wrote a comment to you folks saying, hey, if, right? That's the first word. But if the SPY could hold over 377-ish, I could see a move closer to 380 by the end of the day today. Well, that was posted at 1:37 Eastern time, and since, man, talk about flawless, right? I mean, it broke under 377 briefly here, but it held right above it afterwards, then ended up running up from that point. That was based off of weekly closes from the daily chart or weekly chart for that matter. So now at this point, you hope to see an even bigger and better move heading into the afternoon here. But this actually came a lot faster than I thought it was going to come. I thought we would see 380 maybe at the very last 10 minutes of the day. So this is making a faster move than expected. I wasn't expecting for over 380 really, maybe just a little bit, but definitely at 381 and above 382, you have some big resistance there just from big volume that got filled over the last week and a half. Perhaps I'll do that going into tomorrow and show you more about that. But for right now, things are looking really good within the market. I would just be mindful of 381-ish to 382 as resistance here for the SPY. But we have two good stocks on our watch list here to begin with, the CVNA trade and then Roblox, assuming that can move back on up with the market here as it is now. The FFIE has been just on fire, the stock today. So hopefully I can turn over to this thing sooner than later. Told you this morning, if I turned over to the SPY, there was a chance my platform would freeze up, and that's kind of what's happening right now. So hopefully we can move away from this ticker quickly. There we go. Perfect. All right. FFIE, another big runner from this morning. It's not looking as appealing for us this afternoon. Ended up already making such a big run up. it's just not close to the highs now at this point in the day like you'd want to see it. So, right now I'm going to pass on this for the afternoon, but great run up from this morning from 330-ish, 340. Really right away, it ended up running all the way up close towards 650. It's a great stock, great sideless stock to follow for the remainder of this week. It was one from Friday that made a big pop. Just wasn't really showing too much in pre-market. So, I was pretty unassuming at the time that we did the morning meeting. But, with that in mind, given this pop here, perhaps this could just be in play for this whole week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week. The LXRX trade much closer to its respective highs compared to the FFIE trade. So, I'll put this back on our list at this point, but FFIE but LXRX, be careful here heading into the close. Not only do you have resistance assumed off of 3, but you actually have a pretty big iceberg order sitting on the ask there at 290 for about 46,000 shares roughly on the ask. So, obviously that is relatively close to the high of the day, but that in its own right is a key level. And then even if it breaks above that, you got resistance at 3. So, that's the disappointing part. It doesn't seem as if it's going to look to try and make that big squeeze up, but I'll put it on our list here to start in hopes of this really beginning to make another push closer up to at least 290. All right, we keep going, folks. Probably find a lot more on the upside here this afternoon. My SPY chart disappeared. I don't know what happened there, but AVDL, hey, at least for right now, this stock is also a big like the LXRX trade. It's a lot closer to the highs even compared to LXRX. So, it'd be hard to not put this on our list. This should have resistance off of 350. There was resistance, and you could tell just based on the sheer amount of volume that got filled here right off at 350, much like we talked about just before in CVNA. But even if it breaks back over 350, you have 10,000 shares here, 10,000 shares here. So, again, just be careful. That's what I'm watching for, heading into the afternoon for this AVDL. But I'll put this on our list as well. Now, I'm going to yank my own leash here, as I've been saying today. It's like my key phrase today, but it's to say that there's going to be a lot that's looking like this, a lot that's at the highs, near the highs. So I want to find something that is up big percentage-wise, and there's something that is at the highs. So, there could be a lot that looks like that. I have to try and trim this list down, I'm sure, at the end of this meeting. Like EVFM, it's a stock from Friday of last week, Thursday of last week too, that ended up making a push, but this is definitely more of a level 1 type of stock. Hey, this is my first look at this trade today personally. I personally didn't call this out today. I know Rich did just before we started the meeting. He said it's approaching the HOD. He also called out big resistance off of 120. Great call. I see that there. 220,000 shares on the offer sitting at 120. For right now, this looks great. It's hard to not put this on our list here at this point, right? I have 50 stocks on this watch list at the end of this class, at the end of this meeting, folks. I'm teasing when I say that, but as we keep going, we see some familiar names like Blue, BLUE, ended up obviously making a big pop today, but has made a real big move over the last 2 weeks, week and a half. Just been on our radar with that in mind over the last couple of weeks, on and off. And this morning, I'm sure we had called this out pretty early, but it ended up stopping in its tracks relatively close to around that 10:30 time, reversal time there, and with that, ended up beginning to pull back pretty sharply. So, it's tradable. Nothing really too special about it right now at this point. If it was near the highs, Wayfair. There we go. Speaking of at the highs, Wayfair pushing on up here. I guess they found out that I'm going to be buying my entire apartment from them. Living room, bedroom, kitchen, everything. All right. Wayfair pushing on up, and that's a semi-joke. But right now, this is moving on up pretty nicely heading into the close. Just broke over 52. Actually, right now, a lot of volume has been filled over the last 2 minutes in particular. So, as a contrarian, be careful about that, because if we happen to see less buying coming up very imminently from right now, should it pull back under from where the volume got filled, then this could look to shake down a lot further heading into the afternoon, like downward. It still seems like it's moving on up, which is great, but just wherever that big volume got filled just a moment ago, it kind of seems to be near the highs here, 52.17, 52.29, 52.31. So actually, it seems to be like right near there off the highs. So I would be pretty mindful about that. But yeah, the Wayfair trade definitely looks good in terms of the chart. The stock also took a huge hit back from January and so forth before that. But, for any of these stocks that got really beat up over the last 6 months to a year, just look at Roblox, look at Wayfair. I'm sure there could be a lot more that looks like this. So, if there's anything else that looks really good, folks, that I, skipped over or might not even be up as much, like this is near the bottom of the gainers list here, we're at like 14%. So there's definitely a lot more that we should be going through. If there's anything that you see that looks good, just type it in early. Let me know. Tupperware. Not much happening there now at this point. This thing's dead. Grab. It's at the high of the day. It's up 13.5% yearly. And a ton of volume just got filled a moment ago. So let's try and do some classic tape reading here. I feel like we can go back on this. So it seems like roughly all of the volume or most of the volume has been filled off of $2.70 right there. So if it slams under 270, that's not good. But given the amount of buying that we just had off of 270 and 271, you could say, perhaps heading into 330, this is setting itself up for a nice pop. So the grab trade I'll put on our list here, a little slow, but it's at the highs. So I want to see what this could do here. What else do we have? ATER had a nice pop earlier today. I forgot about that. It's still kind of near those highs off 256. Needs to blast over 250 pretty sharply here coming up, but I'll keep this on the side for right now. If it ends up making that pop over 250, I'll be pretty interested. But, in the name of trying to cut down this list here, trim it down, then let's see if there's anything looking a lot better. Roblox, we talked about already. CVNA, we talked about already near the top of the gainers. All right, there's going to be more, folks, that's up. So trust me, I know there's a lot more to go from the gainer side, quote unquote. But I do have to just jump over to the loser side first. I'm not going to expect to find much, with the markets on moving on up today. So BTU actually taking a bit of a hit here. I'm going to skim through the losers list and click on number 17. BTU taking a huge hit today. Also, I saw from earlier, but I haven't checked in on the stock over the last hour or two. But while I'm on BTU, maybe I could look at Oxy, right? Oxy was down big this morning. It's not as close to the lows compared to that BTU trade, perhaps. A little bit more expensive is the Oxy. But BTU I do like as a short in particular. It looks really good. So, right now it ended up squeezing up from 18, moved up to 1850, pulled back down. It actually hasn't tested 18 yet, technically. So I would be wary of that. I'd be mindful of a false breakdown first, should it get down to 18. But BTU looks pretty interesting here as a short. CRK, I'm sure you could say the same thing. I believe these two trade relatively similar, and this one's dropping off very well, very nicely also. So far, we're at 8 stocks on the list, folks. That's actually pretty decent. It's not too big. But once I'm at like 12, 13, then we're pushing it bad. So we even have room for like one more, maybe 2 more if it's worthy. I don't want to get to that 12 number. So if there's anything that looks good, folks, type it in the chat board now. Now's your time. Take a look at my lovely NEO, which is just, moving up right now. It's at the highs. It's up 2.74%. I could put this on our list for the sake that it's a familiar name to a lot of us, not just myself, but also it's at the highs. But again, let's see if there's anything looking even better. American Airlines is up, a little bit more percentage-wise, but, it seems like that's having a little tough time trying to make the break higher. Jets, airline ETF here. This is what you'll follow if you're following any of the airline stocks, but yeah, we ended up trading the airlines back from last week. I think it was back from Friday last week on the 1st. I put them all on the watch list. It was a really good trade then. I don't know. Let's check out a few other trades here. AMC getting beat up right now. Damn. All right. So clearly not moving with the market right now, given how much it ended up pumping up over the last few weeks. But otherwise, Pinterest, another stock that's up big today. This one's actually looking pretty damn nice here. One of our students called it out early this morning as the markets were beginning to bounce. And at the time I said, hey, it's tradable. It's like up like less than 1% or right around 1%. A lot of stocks were like that, right? Well, now at this point, and we've been calling it out before right now, but, Pinterest has only moved on up since. So, in terms of at least trying to find some stocks that have good volatility to it, I could add NEO to our list, but I like Pinterest a lot more right now. PINS, this is making a good push. Very similar to the Roblox trade, CVNA, and some of those others, Wayfair. Tell you what, I got a bagel here this afternoon, meaning I don't have any chats from the trading room. I don't have any chats. Got a bunch of us on YouTube today. Welcome aboard. But Otherwise, I don't have much from you folks, so I feel like we kind of touched upon them all, no? Do one last look on Benzinga Pro before we wrap up. B-Cell. This thing is at least up a little bit over the last 4 or 5 minutes. It's up 24%. It's at the highs right now, just over the last few minutes. It's been trying to push. In that sense, like, don't get me wrong, it's interesting, and I'll put this on our list for that reason in mind more than anything. But this is not trading a lot of volume per minute. So, it definitely needs to see a bit of a kick in that, in order for us to feel really good about a continued move up higher. It broke over 221, which there was a lot of volume traded there off the high a moment ago. So watch the bid. See if there's a big iceberg on the bid that pops up that can generate the support before it really begins to pop. Leda asking if SoFi is going anywhere. Well, that's another stock that got crushed over the last, year or 8 months or whatnot, from 22 all the way down to near $2. Ended up making a nice pop today. A little slow though. So, if we get one more big squeeze up within the market, I'm sure this and every other stock will look to make a move. But, for right now, this is too slow. Not much happening here. All right, folks, but that's all right. Trust me, there's plenty of stocks that are up, that are at the highs. I would strongly, strongly suggest to start with what is on this list. Now, if you don't want to follow that advice, then the advice that you should absolutely follow would be to stick with a stock that you do well on week over week. Pretty much every week you're profiting on that same stock, day trading it. For me, NEO, right? Not putting NEO on the main list. It's a little slow compared to Pinterest and CBNA and Roblox. It's tradable though. So that's what I'm saying, whether it's NEO or the airlines or the cruise lines or the SoFi or the Palantir, whatever it may be. If it's moving well and you do well on that stock, then I would suggest for you to follow it. But if it's not moving well, I don't think there's much of a point to try and stray away from this list that we just took the time to scan through and therefore and built. All right. So I love what we have here, folks. There's a lot of variety on this watch list. We got level 1 and 2 stocks. We got level 3, 4, and 5 stocks out there too. So start and stick with this list. And then around 3 o'clock or 3:15, when Rich jumps on the mic, then he'll look to rescan the market a lot more seriously at that point and see if there's anything moving here heading into the close. All right, folks, but for all of us on Facebook Live, YouTube, just a quick reminder from earlier this morning. I know that Fausto is on vacation this whole week, so I will be tagging in for him just in the mornings. Obviously, I always do the afternoons here. So any questions that you have, feel more than free to send over through email, josh@ctutrading.com. As I post my email here, actually, I get a chat on YouTube from one of our regular attendees, Bobby. We got a chat from one of us inside the trading room, one of our longtime students, Bobby. So give me a quick second here from Bobby on YouTube asking about VMEO. What the hell happened there? All right, Rich, we might have to take all of our videos off Vimeo here. No, I'm teasing with that. I don't know what happened. There had to have been some news that came out that led to a big drop on Vimeo. Looks like the stock's been breaking down over the last 6 months here as well, last year for the most part. Is this at all-time lows? Certainly looks like it. Pretty interesting. Nice call out from Bobby on YouTube. Appreciate that. Interesting enough for me to just put on our list. Now, with this type of drop, I would look to see continuation. So we're getting a bit of a squeeze up right now, but if this begins to really pull back down, or if it goes up towards 593, that could be resistance right off the VWAP. Otherwise, if it ends up re-breaking under 577 and holds under there, namely, then we should definitely see continuation downwards. So, those are 2 big levels to watch for right now, but the VMEO, I'll slip on there. All right, I got to send out a coaching link, folks. Can't do it all at once. I will talk to everybody coming up right at 3:30, shortly thereafter, just to wrap things up for all of us heading into the market close. Take care.
Become a Cyber Group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of knowledge for just $9. Do it today.